We definitely had our share of losses last week, but we also had some pretty nice winning trades from the daily market breakdown videos. That being said, let's get right into this week's Forex Forecast. Alright, starting the forecast off with the COT report for the US dollar. The past week the banks got rid of 1,974 longs, and they also added 3,533 short positions. Now we're going to do a top-down approach here on the weekly chart. So you can see we are clearly, with a pretty bullish green candle here. This past week we are pushing back up to this supply zone for the second time. Now I did point out this supply zone before, as you can see there on the screen. I pointed this out in the Discord group, but now we are coming in for that second test. So I am expecting to at least go higher than this previous high right there. Now I think we could struggle to get through this area, but on the lower time frames it's really signaling that we definitely could maybe push up, break the high on the weekly chart, but we definitely have to get through this weekly selling area first. And whenever a zone is barely tested like this, a lot of the times we will see another reaction off of it. So, I think overall, as we look at the weekly chart, we could see another bullish week in the dollar as we push to that weekly supply. And then maybe the following week, we can maybe see some downward pressure. But ultimately, it is looking pretty strong here on the DXY. If you go down to the daily chart, if any of you guys, I'm sure a lot of you have watched the last weekly Forex forecast from last week, I was pointing out this daily demand zone, or sorry, my bad. I was pointing out this supply zone that removed this daily demand zone, and we pretty much blasted right through it. I wouldn't say blasted through it, but we definitely broke it, obviously. So my analysis was incorrect. And look, that's supply and demand. That's just trading in general. Sometimes your analysis is going to be wrong. So we did end up breaking it, and then we had this demand zone down here at 103.10. I thought we would push down into it, but ultimately we are pushing up to the upside now. Depends on how you draw it. If you draw it like this, we reacted off of it. I'm not going to just change my analysis after the fact, but we could definitely say that some sort of demand as we push down is in control on the daily chart. Now, what I would like to see is this higher move, because then we'd have a pretty nice looking daily uptrend on the DXY, which would be more clear for the swing traders. So if we get that high removed and we create this daily uptrend, if we see more bullish pressure, that could definitely signal to us that, going back to the weekly chart, that who knows, we could be pulling all the way back up to like the 110 area at this weekly supply and kind of fill in this overall gap here. But again, we have to kind of remove this weekly supply first. But like I said, if we do break that high in the daily chart, that'll be a pretty nice trend. And we're going to go to the 4-hour chart now. This is almost a picture perfect 4-hour uptrend right now. So yes, we could be day trading long the dollar based on whatever pairs you are trading. And look, guys, I'm the kind of guy who likes to point out longs and shorts, because just because we have an uptrend doesn't mean we won't see price pull back to a demand zone, and it doesn't mean that you can't catch some trades in this area as well as we potentially pull back. So I always like to point out both sides, but right now I'm seeing a pretty nice wrong color here. I'm seeing a pretty nice 4-hour trend. We have a demand down at 104.09. We could see some weakness for a bit and pull back down to that demand to fuel for that bigger push up. But as long as we have this trend to the upside, I'm going to remain pretty bullish here on the dollar. And like I said, at that weekly supply area, we might struggle to get through there, but ultimately it is looking like it's going to break. So again, not super. Just going back to the daily chart, there's really not a lot to go off of here. It's just a lot of sideways price action. That's why I'm looking to see that trend removed. And look, if we start to pull back and we break this demand zone, then we have to almost switch to shorts. So pretty much all going to revolve around this daily chart to see if we can break that high or not, see if we can see more bullish price action here on the US dollar. All right, on to the forecast for the Euro US dollar. The past week, the banks got rid of 11,616 longs, and they also added 14,449 short positions. So we did see that reaction off of supply. We're clearly pushing down. The issue that I'm having is all the demand down here is very tested. This daily zone I had down here, it was tested once and twice, 3 times, and we eventually moved back to supply. So I think from supply, we will probably be going down to 1.07. The issue I'm having is it's not a great demand zone to see a trade off of, right? I think maybe we'll struggle to get through it, but ultimately I think we are, going to break that demand zone. And if we break this low here, then we'll have a downtrend similar to the obviously the opposite of the DXY. But with these bullish candles here on the euro, you know, we could expect to see some upward pressure, or sorry, I meant bearish candles, my bad. You know, when you talk about trading so much, sometimes you mix them up. But anyways, these bearish candles could signify that we could see maybe a little bit of a rally, a dead cat bounce, as some people call it, and ultimately push back down. So that'll be more visible on the lower time frames. If we go to a 4-hour chart here, we caught this 4-hour supply zone trade. Pretty nice trade. 5-to-1 target was hit. Now remember, we did definitely, I mentioned it in the beginning of the video in the intro, we definitely took our share of losses this past week, but like I said, guys, we have these nice trades as well. So that was from the daily market breakdown video. If you guys want to get those daily market breakdown videos, join the Diamond membership. Links in the description down below. We have the daily market breakdown videos, video lessons, Sunday Zoom sessions, Sunday forecasts, Discord group, and much more. So check it out. Links in the description down below. We have lifetime access available as well. So be happy to see all serious traders join the team. So that trade has already kind of worked out for supply, but the good news is we have a nice 4-hour downtrend at this point. If we do pull back up to like 1.08 to this 4-hour supply zone I just drew, we could see a move off of that zone. And we are kind of reacting off of a little bit of a support area. Now, I do not trade support and resistance. It's just something that I like to look at. We do have a 4-hour demand right here at 1.077. Maybe we could push down to this zone, get a small move off of it. So if you're a day trader, this could be an area where you look for confirmation long trades. If you don't know what confirmation trading is, check out my tips playlist here on YouTube where I have many videos on it. So day trading confirmation could be good, even in this supply zone as well. So, you know, I'm not sure if we're going to get a huge move off of the zone if we do push up to it, but ultimately we have some zones here, and like I said, after such a large move down like this, we could kind of see a bounce. And is that bounce going to take place at this demand zone? It's definitely possible. Maybe we push back up to supply first and then rally down, but at the end of the day, we have trends to the downside. I'm definitely liking shorts at this point, especially on day trading time frames. So that's my analysis on the euro, guys. Remember, any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I respond to all comments. All right, on to the forecast for gold. The past week, the banks got rid of 4,330 longs, and they also got rid of 4,330 shorts. It almost seems like an error. But anyways, we have a weekly trend to the upside here. So definitely bullish long-term gold. I see a ton of guys on Twitter, you know, all the Bitcoin guys, they love to talk smack about gold. Look, I get it. Yeah, gold doesn't go up, you know, 1,000% in a year or whatever, you know, Bitcoin quote-unquote store of value does. But it is a beautiful, healthy looking weekly trend. Are we going to pull back down to 2041? It's difficult to tell at this point. We don't see a lot of evidence for that just yet, but ultimately I think this is a beautiful dip buying opportunity with the overall trend. So just wanted to point that out as well here on gold. Now we're going to go right to the 4-hour chart. We are currently reacting off of this demand zone. What I don't love about it is the trend line. So I think we could at least spike below. If you were a day trader, all I would really be doing is looking for confirmation trades long, and I would look to take maybe a quick take profit at like 2-to-1 or something. And then maybe if you want to target the high, if you think this demand zone is going to hold, maybe you have like 25% of your position holding to the upside in case we do continue to push up. But since we are testing this trend line, I'm actually expecting price to break here on the 4-hour chart, and I really have my eyes out on this daily zone down at 21.31. So if we do pull back to this zone, I think it's a decent area for dip buying opportunities, especially if you are a swing trader. I know a lot of my audience are day traders, and that's completely fine. You could also be day trading in this zone, but as a swing trader myself, I am personally loving this daily zone at 21.31. I think it's a great area, and honestly, if I'm wrong and let's say we break it, that's fine. We have better demand actually down below at that weekly demand I was pointing out earlier. So if you're a swing trader, you know, this would be our target area for longs to potentially push back up and break the new highs. So that's what I'm going to be looking for there on gold. And like I said, we are into demand right now. So yeah, you could be day trading long this one. I think that that's completely fine, but we have to be a little bit cautious here because I think since this demand is, and if you just look here, back to the 4-hour chart, there's so much trading in this area. I think, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we do break this zone and kind of fill in all this gap, and there's really no demand here at all that's anything quality. We have some fresh demand down below at 20.91, but like I said, I'd pretty much focus on that daily zone if we do continue to push down. And going to the 1-hour chart here, if we break this demand zone on the 1-hour chart, we'll have a lot of momentum to the downside. We could be day trading short with the idea of, hey, I want to day trade short to get that pullback down to daily demand, look to take profit, and then switch to a potential long trade. So hopefully all of this makes sense here on XAUUSD, on gold. Let me know your thoughts, comments down below. I think it's a beautiful looking trend. I'm definitely looking for pullback longs, and honestly, if we do get the pullback down to daily demand, it's just healthy, right? We don't really want to be chasing price too much, and I personally have my eyes down at 21.31 at that daily zone, and I actually kind of hope it breaks so we can get the pullback all the way down to weekly demand and getting even better buying opportunity. Oh, and I also was fully stopped out for profit right here. I had my 25% of my position on gold stopped out here. I have my stop loss here, kind of protected underneath the zone, and we blew right through it. So I was stopped out, like I said, it wasn't a stop loss for a loss, it was a stop loss for a profit, because if you guys have been following my forecast for a while, I was long all the way down at this daily zone on a 1 hour time frame as well. I had multiple positions, and finally I'm fully out now for the best trade of my career. So I am out of my position on gold. Just wanted to update you guys on that. On to the forecast for the USDJPY. The past week, the banks added 25,000 longs, and they also added 11,351 shorts. So looking at the weekly chart here, again, we didn't break the supply here, but we pretty much touch it right to the wick there. So honestly, I am expecting this to break. I think it's pretty clear. At that point, we'll have a beautiful weekly trend to the upside, and all signs are pointing to the upside here on the USDJPY. And if you guys are enjoying this video so far, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Every like definitely helps, because all the ad revenue generated from these weekly Forex Forecast videos is donated to my local hospice. So I'm really happy to be doing that, and I think it's for a good cause. So every like helps, would appreciate it. So on to the daily chart here. Again, beautiful daily uptrend. Any pullbacks, like any deep pullbacks to like 149.15 to the daily chart, I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't be, oh my God, we got to get in short. I think it's a decent daily zone down here to potentially look for longs, especially if you're a swing trader. Even if we don't break the high and we push down now, I think it's still a decent area. So again, beautiful daily trends to the upside, and I think that's why on the 1 hour chart we're seeing zones being respected. We do have this 1 hour zone in control right now. This zone was responsible for breaking supply and the highs, so it's a decent zone. You could be, with the idea of this 1 hour demand zones in control, you could be day trading long on a 5-minute chart, even a 1-minute chart, even a 15-minute chart as well. All the demand down here is pretty much tested, so I'd pretty much ignore that. If we do break this demand zone, I think we could be getting that pullback down to that daily zone, like I said. And even on the 4 hour chart here, we have a decent little zone at 149.31. So look, if we don't get these pullbacks too, that's fine. Going back to the 1 hour chart here, let's say this zone holds. Let's say you miss your 5-minute entry, or you maybe even get an entry and you take profit at the high. If we break this high here, any new 1 hour zones there, we could be looking for long trades off of. So I'll be monitoring that for sure. But at the end of the day here, I mean, all signs are pointing to the upside. We have 1 hour trends. Going back to my 4 chart layout, 4 hour trends, daily trends. The next step is to get that weekly trend to the upside here. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, and hopefully we can see more dollar strength, especially in the DXY there. So again, swing trading longs, day trading longs are really all on the table right now. If we get a 1 hour downtrend, okay, then I think maybe we could be pulling back down to the daily demand at 149.15, and then we could be day trading short on like a 1-minute or a 5-minute chart with the idea of we're going to get a pull back down to the daily demand and look to take profit at that demand zone, then switch to a long bias. So those are my thoughts on the USDJPY. Again, to kind of summarize, we don't really want to be trading against a daily, 4 hour, and a 1 hour trend. That's why I think longs are going to be our best bet. And who knows, we could get that pullback, but ultimately we'll still have that daily trend. So it's no need to get all worried if we do start to pull back. On to the GBPUSD forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 20,680 longs, and they also got rid of 3,429 shorts. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on the pound. I'll give you guys my thoughts right now. I'm not loving this. I was very excited to see this beautiful daily trend to the upside, but honestly, it looks like a fake out. I was looking for longs in this daily zone, and I did take a loss here on the pound, but losses happen, guys. It's really no big deal at the end of the day. So we broke the zone pretty cleanly here, very aggressively as well. So if we get another candle close here, we will have some supply above, but that'll probably be in next week's Forex forecast. So make sure you guys tune back in next week. The issue with this daily zone is it was a decent zone, nice reaction off of it again and again. So it's been tested 3 times. I don't really like that, but if you notice, we barely tested it like 50% of the way in. So I think we could actually push down, break the 1.25 area, and then maybe see a small rally. But ultimately, I think we will end up breaking this area on the daily chart. So how could we be trading the pound right now? Well, what I'm noticing is a pretty nice looking 4-hour downtrend. I don't think anybody would deny that, with clear profit margin to the downside to at least 1.25, like I was saying. So I think we could be day trading short this pair right now, definitely. 4-hour downtrend means we could be day trading a 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, and even a 1-minute chart, really. So, you know, even here, okay, if we get a pullback all the way up to 1.27, it's a decent supply zone. I don't know. I'm not really 100% sure we're going to pull back up to the supply, but it is a decent zone for a pullback, but it's kind of out of the question at this point. So really all I'm saying right now is this 4-hour downtrend is looking decent. We definitely could be day trading that 4-hour downtrend. And what I mean by that is even if we pull back up to here, as long as this trend line is holding, we could be looking for shorts on, again, 15-minute chart, a 5-minute chart, and the 1-minute chart as well, but that's a little bit more aggressive. I would mostly be sticking to the 15-minute and the 5-minute chart as long as this trend line is holding. But if you guys look, nice move here. We are kind of overextended, so yeah, we could see some upward pressure here. So, but again, trends to the downside, we definitely want to be looking for shorts, in my opinion, especially on day trading timeframes. Not really seeing much for swing trading right now until we can maybe get a daily supply zone or something like that. Again, let me know your thoughts on the pound in the comments down below. On to the forecast for the USDCAD. The past week, the banks added 16,071 longs, and they also added 9,797 shorts. So looking at the daily chart here, again, very, very tested supply zone. I mean, I think it's pretty clear we are going to break this area. The issue is we're not really going to have a trend to the upside here. I guess momentum would definitely be up, but not really an amazing trend. So it's not really my favorite pair to be trading. Honestly, guys, the USDCAD, never really a good pair to trade, in my opinion. I think there's always better options almost. That's just, you know, from my personal experience. Again, you don't have to listen to me on that. You could trade it if you want. I find there's always just better options, and it's just not super correlated. That's just my opinion. But we do have strong momentum to the upside here. We have a zone at 1.357. So if you're bullish the dollar, that would be our area to potentially look for a long trade. If you're a day trader, you could be looking for confirmation in there as well. I think that is fine. And if we break this area at 1.35, we have another little rally base, rally buying area down here. So even if we break it, we could still see moves to the upside. We will obviously have to monitor the DXY. We do have some supply above. It's not great. What I do like about it is kind of this pause here where we kind of have resistance. We could see a move off of it. Maybe we get the move up to supply 1.36, get the rally down to demand, and then kind of rally out of here, creating a nice trend to the upside. So a little bit tricky here on the USDCAD, but ultimately, you know, we cannot deny this momentum, and, you know, I don't really want to be trading against this momentum, but obviously we have some zones being blown right through, even this one here. So again, kind of tricky, a lot of sideways action, but I am seeing this demand zone here that's fresh and supply that's fresh. So we could kind of ping pong between here and eventually rally out. We're going to have to monitor the DXY, like I said, and remember, I think there's always better pairs to trade. That's just my opinion here on the USDCAD. But ultimately, if we do push up, I think we'll have nice trends, and even day trading longs could be good in here on the USDCAD. Make sure to stay tuned for next week's forecast to see what's really going on here if we do push up. All right, on to the forecast for the Aussie US dollar. The past week, the banks got rid of 3,384 longs, and they also added 13,314 shorts. Now, if you guys go back to a couple forecasts ago, I'm not really sure when, we have the supply at 0.665. I thought we could get a small move off of it. I did actually think we would get a small move and then break to the upside, but clearly we're just seeing a lot of downward pressure here, expecting to break the lows here, although we kind of have to get through this little drop-based rally demand zone first. So I think we could struggle, but ultimately it's looking like we are going to create the downtrend. I'm kind of just anticipating that. Again, it's not super clear, but it's kind of feeling that way. So if we look at the 4-hour chart, there's no trend here. It is pretty much sideways. If we do break the low, then we will have a trend to the downside. And I'm noticing this supply zone at about 0.656. This is really the only area I'm looking at right now, but you can see zones kind of just not working here. So it's been a tricky time, but ultimately we have to keep trading, right? That's why I like a larger risk to reward, because you can take losses and ultimately you will get that winner. It's just math. So we do have supply at 0.656. We could see move off that zone. I would prefer to see the lower move first. So the lows here, something like this first. It'd make this zone a little bit better, and then maybe get that rally and that rally down. So I'm really have my eye on that 4-hour supply zone there on the Aussie US dollar. And on the 1-hour chart, we do have 1-hour supply that is embedded inside of that 4-hour supply, but I think it's just better at the 4-hour supply zone. But it is an embedded 1-hour supply, and above we actually have a 1-hour supply zone. So if we do break that 4-hour supply, we have a little 1-hour supply above. We could get that move off of, maybe fake everybody out to the upside, and then ultimately get that move off of that 1-hour supply zone. So this one's not amazing for day trading because we don't have 4-hour trends. So if you are a day trader and you like to trade with the trend, I think a lot of the other pairs that I talked about earlier are going to be a little bit better due to the trends, unless, like I said, we get that downtrend by removing that low. Then at that point, it'll be on par with the other pairs, and then we could add day trading to this one as well on the Aussie US dollar. All right, on to the forecast for the USDCHF, the Swiss franc. The past week, the banks added 4,397 longs, and they also added 1,767 shorts. So I did expect this move to the upside, and we are into a weekly supply zone at 0.898. Now, since the US dollar is looking strong, I actually think this could be the change of an overall trend. But at minimum, I think we will struggle to get through the zone. Depends on the strength of the US dollar. We have seen zones just blown right through like no issue lately. So I am kind of expecting that as well. But we are already kind of reacting with this wick to the downside here. I am not saying shorts are going to be a solid idea. We've actually been looking for longs. We caught this beautiful 4-hour demand zone trade right here in the daily market breakdown video, as you can see on the screen. Just want to give a shout out to EJ as well, who caught this trade in the group. Sometimes we post that, so congratulations to you. Just wanted to give a shout out to one of the members. So beautiful trade. I mean, 5-to-1 target hit basically immediately. So it was a beautiful continuation trade here. This zone was responsible for not only breaking a supply zone, but also a high. So it was almost a picture perfect little demand zone setup trade, and still running really. So at this point, if we break to the upside here, okay, we could be looking for longs for sure, especially on day trading timeframes, because we have a 4-hour trend to the upside here on the USD Swiss. But like I said, since we are reacting off that weekly supply, even the daily supply as well here, it might be best, if you are going to trade long, to trade with lower risk at this point, since we are contacting that weekly area of supply. At this point here, I would pretty much call this a daily uptrend. I think that is fair. What I'm really hoping to see, which would signify the break of that weekly supply, would be the removal of this daily supply. So if we break to the upside, we'll have new demand here potentially. We could look for longs down there. That'll be for next week's forecast or in the daily market breakdown videos. But we do have a trend to the upside, so I think looking for longs here is fine, especially on day trading timeframes. But like I said, since the weekly supply is in control and the potential to move off of it is definitely there, since we are into supply, then I think it might be best to trade with lower risk. So let's say you usually risk 2%, which I don't really recommend. Maybe risk 1%. If you usually risk 1%, maybe it's time to risk 0.5% based on the supply. If price was down here, then I think it's a different story. If we break the supply, then I think we can start to apply full risk. I'm just trying to be, part of trading is preserving capital, and this is what an example of that is, right? Yes, we have trends to the upside. Things are looking strong. This trade down here, 1%, 2% risk would have been completely fine because we had profit margin to the weekly supply. And now that we're there, it might be best to lower our risk. But ultimately, I am looking for these supply zones to be taken out on the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart to continue to trade to the upside, especially on day trading timeframes. All right, last but not least, we are on to crude oil. The past week, the banks added 36,698 longs, and they also got rid of 7,271 shorts. Just want to look at a weekly chart here. I like to use weekly charts as kind of a profit margin area. And what I'm noticing here is we have supply and demand, and we are basically almost in the middle. We are closer to supply at 87.25. So this would be our profit target. There's tons of profit up to 87.25. And I think we would actually break the high here, especially since it's so tested and basically broke it already almost. I'm not going to get into detail on that. But I think that is our profit margin. We do have a daily trend to the upside right now. So it's looking pretty strong. I had my eye down at this daily zone at 74.04. I'm not sure if we're going to get a pullback down to there. I still like this area, especially for for swing trading. So I'm kind of hoping we do break that break down to the downside, kind of stop everyone out here and pull back down to 74.04. And we're not seeing a ton of evidence for that right now, although on the 1 hour chart we have trend to the downside, but I'm not loving what I'm seeing. A lot of reactions off of this downward trend line, which is hinting to me that we could break out to the upside here. But if you look at the 4 hour chart, we do have a fresh area of demand on the 4 hour chart at $80.05. So we could pull back down to there with that 1 hour downtrend. So, and then rally up to the upside. So we could be day trading short. I would stick to like a 1 minute chart or a 5 minute chart if you are going to short until we hit this demand zone. It is risky, it is counter trend, but I like to give options, especially if you are a day trader. So it would make sense to day trade this momentum and 1 hour downtrend to the downside to pull back down to this 1 hour zone, or sorry, 4 hour zone at $80, where then we could look for potential long trades. And if we break this 4 hour zone, we could also break this trend line. So if we get a move like this, then at that point, I think that would actually signal to us that we could potentially pull back all the way down to $74 down to this daily zone. So I'm going to have my eye on that 4 hour chart to really see what's going on, to see if we're going to get that pullback. Because looking at the weekly chart, maybe the large players want to push price all the way to over $100 a barrel again, but maybe they want to get a better entry or kind of fill in the rest of their positions down here at that $74 on the daily chart before they push price back up. So it's all going to revolve around that this 1 hour downtrend to see if it holds, and then this 4 hour zone to see if that holds or not, or see if it breaks to see if we will pull back down to the daily zone. And if you guys want to watch the full length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.